Delighted to say that joining us now on the NFL show ahead of Monday Night Football between the Bears and the Vikings, live and exclusive on the talkSPORT network. Kicker for those Chicago Bears, Cairo Santos. Cairo, tudo bem?
Muito bom seu português.
No. My co-host speaks a good amount of Portuguese, and he told me if I didn't do a tudo bem, I'd be in trouble. But it's wonderful to speak again. We last spoke in the locker room at Tottenham back in London. So, new season upon you, going into year 12 in the NFL now. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. I'm just very excited about the opportunity that we have. Being here in Chicago for 6 years, my 12th year in the league. I'm very excited about the coaching staff that we have, about the talent that we have in the locker room, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to marry that together and do something here in Chicago that we haven't done yet, and then to win a championship, a division. So I think we've got those tools this year, and just excited for the opportunity. And it starts with a good one on Monday night against a division opponent, a playoff team last year. So it's we're ready to go.
Look, from kind of your perspective, how is the mood in the camp? You say you guys are ready to go, but Ben Johnson coming in, all change there at Hallis Hall. How is everyone feeling going into 2025?
Yeah, I think a lot of positives that we saw in the preseason, even though the starters don't play a whole lot, but the flashes that we had were very encouraging. I think we also learned on areas that we can improve. I think we learned that we have depth on our team. Some young studs stepped up on both sides of the ball, special teams, and created that energy for us. So I think we're always going to need depth in the NFL. Very rarely you have everyone available for the whole year. So I think seeing that we have a team that every player can step up and fill that role and feel like the team won't miss a beat. I think it's huge, and I think we've gained that trust from each other that we've got the players to do that.
It sounds really, really positive, but tell us a bit about Ben Johnson himself, what he's been like as a coach coming in. We saw his tour around Hallis Hall when he first came in. We saw him giving a big kind of rah-rah speech, but we know him as this offensive schemer, this great mind. So what's he been like around the camp? What's he been like as a leader?
Yeah, he's super competitive. I think he's somewhat of a killer. When he's got the opportunity, he wants to push that dagger as far as he can, and he won't take it off. That's kind of the gruesome way to say that he's relentless in his pursuit of winning, and he doesn't want to ever take the foot off the gas, because I think he kind of builds off of that in the way that he coaches, and we've seen the hardest training camp we had this year, and just kind of players understood that it's how it's going to be. So we better adapt and go by his way, because it's very competitive, intense. The mentality around, and like I said, his pursuit to try to win every game, every down, every drive.
I'm really fascinated by that mentality, because you think for some people it's a case of, I think it's a real test. Do you want to be pushed? Do you want to get to that next level? You'd think like athletes who have done this whole career would actually enjoy somebody coming in and giving them a push. Is that what the feeling has been like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that especially being part of a team that we kind of been growing the last couple seasons, being and I say growing. We were pretty down the last couple of years, being number one pick in the draft. That meant that we were technically the worst team in the NFL the previous year, and then kind of improving by that. And he came in, usually new coaching staffs, you kind of have this kind of regrow, rebuild period. And from day one, his message has been clear, and the expectations that we had to live up to in practice and in games in preseason, and the message this week is that no, screw all that. It's win now. It's to we've built the roster. We have the coaches. our coaching staff is very impressive. And it's to win now, to go and attack a playoff. I think Minnesota won 15 games last year, and we want to be that team, and we want to beat that team. So that's kind of the mentality that he's brought in, and that this is no rebuild. This is you better get on the train, because we're moving at 100 miles per hour from day one.
I love that you mentioned the coaching staff, because seeing it from the outside, seeing guys like Antoine Randall coming over from the Lions, seeing someone like Eric Bieniemy, who was so linked with head coaching jobs just a few years ago, and obviously has all that experience, as you know, from Kansas City, being there yourself. Someone like Dennis Allen, one of the probably best defensive coordinators of the last 2 decades, is there. So I love this staff that they have put together. For you on the special teams side, actually keeping Richard Hightower and having someone have that bit of through line, how positive has that been for you guys to actually have someone who is stayed with the organization, knows what you do, and is able to carry that forth?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point that you brought up, and you get it. I think it's important, as you know, the whole building pretty much changed from last year to this, to a lot of, besides a couple receivers or key players and quarterbacks, a lot of the team runs through special teams. And so to keep a coach that not only is very highly respected, who we finished 5th in the NFL last year in special teams, so he's got the results and knows majority of the roster. So I think keeping Hightower was just a super positive decision that us players, we're happy to work with him. He's probably one of the most loved coaches that we have on our staff, and players get fired up to play special teams because of him. So keeping him with the new additions of the coaching staff, I think was the right move, and something we needed to kind of keep that bond that we had on a phase that succeeded last year.
As a guy who is very thoughtful on your football and knows what you're talking about, and has already spoken really well about the other facets of the team, the offense will be the big focus. What have you seen when watching them from the sidelines? What have you seen when you see Caleb Williams in action? Are we going to see a lot less of Cairo Santos on the field this season, maybe, because we're going to see more touchdowns, less field goals?
I think so. I think we'll see more touchdowns, more extra points, and I'll be ready for anything. But Ben, I've seen a lot of his time in Detroit go for a lot of 4th downs, and I'll at the same time that I'll be rooting for us to convert, I'll also be rooting for us to not convert, so I can kick field goals. But he's a guy like I brought up before. Like, if he's got that opportunity to be aggressive and succeed at it, he's gonna want to keep attacking it. So I think we'll see that mentality this year with him on 4th downs as well, and yeah, hopefully offensively. I've always watched like obviously watching Detroit in our division, but Minnesota, these offenses that produce a lot, create spaces, and seeing our players in that system has been amazing to watch, and I can't wait to see how that's all gonna result on the field on Sundays. But it's been definitely a different look from different offenses that we had before.
On the kicking side, changes to the kickoff rules again this year. They've retained the dynamic kickoff, but moved the touchback to the 35-yard line. We don't know yet as fans and as media, and we saw a little bit of it in pre-season, but we're assuming the focus will be on, with that touchback in mind, trying to kick shorter, trying to force more returns. Are you ready to make some tackles, Cairo? Are you ready to get out there and have to show a little bit of mettle?
I'll be ready for anything, even slide tackles if that's what it takes. I've done one of those. No, they don't distribute red cards in the NFL, but no, I'm just kidding. They can for sure. But no, yeah, the mentality, like it's been like that. We noticed from last year that more situations that were kickers in play, and we've done tackling drills. Obviously, I'm not expecting to bring down a return all by myself. So I think there's some sort of strategy that I think specialists can use to kind of slow them down, to help bring allowed time for more help to come in. So it's definitely part of a mentality that to kind of get down there as fast as possible and try to create you know, more clutter like in a returner's way and try to bring him down.
Yeah, excited to see how it all pans out. And look, you mentioned a bit of soccer there. I do have to ask, of course, you're playing on Monday night, but on Friday night, will you be watching the action from Chargers Chiefs in your hometown? The NFL back in Brazil. Like, I know we spoke about this a little bit last year, but you must be so proud to see it back in Sao Paulo.
Yes, absolutely. I said it last year that the NFL would fall in love with that game in Brazil even more so than Brazilians would fall in love with the NFL, and it's been a mutual growth that I think I spoke to Roger there at Tottenham, Roger Goodell, before our game, and he was amazed by the interest in different cities in Brazil even bidding to bring a second game, and so it's been awesome to see my home country come together and earn that by their love of the NFL product. They earned that opportunity to the NFL to get their eyes in Brazil and bring the product down there. So excited to see some former teammates go, and we got a chance to play Kansas City a couple weeks ago in preseason and then catch up with them about the game in Brazil. It's super cool to see it all happen and how excited they are to see the Chiefs and the NFL stars in Brazil.
Listen to you name dropping the commissioner. I spoke to Roger. Just at first name terms, clearly yourself and Mr. Goodell, as I'm sure I would have to address him.
It's actually it's funny because it was the first time I met him. I've seen him many times, but the first time I actually spoke to him and I introduced myself, Mr. Goodell, I'm Cairo Santos, and he was like, Roger, please. So since he corrected me, I feel like
absolutely, you're in. You've got the in.
Now.
Look, Cairo, absolutely wonderful speaking with you as always. Really excited to see what the Bears can do this year. Vikings opening game must be nice. I always think the Soldier Field games get them in nice and early in the season before the wind starts to kick up and before it really gets cold later in the year. So huge one on Monday night. And we wish you the best of luck.
Absolutely, you're right about that. I'm excited to get the night game early on, and we're excited to be on prime time to get our first game of the season. So thanks for having me.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much. Cairo Santos joining us here on talkSPORT. Man, that was really great. Thank you.